whatever. I'm back with another one of my wonderful Modern Warfare streams here that basically boils down to it being nearly the end of the season. The new game is about to be released. Everybody's excited about the new game, and it looks incredible. But looking and playing are two totally different things. And right off the bat, if they do the same thing with the lobbies this year in building teams they did with this Modern Warfare release, I'm not touching the game. Apparently they are not going to do that. They're going to go back to traditional persistent lobbies where you can actually find a team and stick with the team without having to bring your own party, which isn't even real anyway because nobody ever has a party that big. But whoever that is, whatever, I don't know who you are. And the second thing is going to be the networks and the server performance, because who knows what the hell happened this year. I have fiber optic internet, and between their server overload from the number of players and the lag compensation systems they have in, it was just a complete nightmare for the majority of the year. I just basically gave up on it's much better now, but when Warzone first launched, the first like literally 2 months, the standard battle royale was basically unplayable because every time I was in the gulag, I was literally like being stuck in motion. I couldn't change directions. It was so bad. So whatever. But so I have a point in doing this, which is to going to go right back in again. And again, I'm just doing this for the sake of anybody who happens to want to watch it, or for myself later. If this isn't your thing, if you don't want to hear somebody talk about Modern Warfare, if you should happen to see this, then go away.
No wall. No shot. Got movement. Go left. Got it. Moving to secure. Bravo. This is 1-1. Got movement. Sentinel hallway. Check. Consider on overwatch.
Okay, so I say this right off the bat. From everything that the test people have been coming back with, the delay and lag compensation that they apparently saw, at least anybody who comment on it with the new Cold War game, was awful. So, for me personally, I barely even played this game for the past month. I don't even know if I'm going to be finishing this Battle Pass, which is just like the first time in years. I switched over to Plants vs. Zombies, which I enjoy, even though it's kidsy, because it's a vastly superior game in every possible way. And that includes the server performance and the game engine. Of the past, like maybe 2 months on Plants vs. Zombies, the first month of it was just normally flawless. The more I have played it, it has had just serious slowdown, bullet loss, lag compensation. They use something similar but not nearly as bad. There must be something that Apex Legends and Plants vs. Zombies and some other games are doing with the way that they're balancing out the delay between people that is different from Call of Duty and, say, different from all of the different battlefields when they keep changing all that. But one way or another, it works a hell of a lot better. And part of that is that I have a 7 millisecond directional, like, to their server, like actual one-way ping to EA servers. That doesn't really matter if you're getting lag comp to death, but something is working much better because I get 14 milliseconds round trip constantly, whereas Call of Duty is 30 up to 80. So whatever to all that. But going right back in here again, and I've got to get it where the timer is visible. Did this on last video or two. Okay, going to start here. This should be right at about 23 feet here in a second, or right around 7 meters. Got to get where I can see the clock. Okay, I'm going to start running at 26 seconds. Again, this is really rough. I'm not trying to like be exactly exact, but this should be roughly 1 second. There we go. Close enough. And that should be 72 meters up to around 79. Or, okay, 72 down to 65-ish. 66. So maybe a little bit off. But anyway, this is roughly 1 second's worth of regular sprint time from standing still, which of course is going to slow it down. It's not like I was sprinting the whole time. But from stand still to sprint to stop. 1 second. That means that go about 72 to 66, 4, 6, do about 3. This is definitely a little bit off. To 69. Okay, so that's a half second's distance. Quarter seconds different distance. Eighth of a second's distance. On a 60 frames per second, you would be getting 30 frames to here, 15 frames to here, about 8 frames to here. Going to make this very brief. It is incontrovertibly tested. Now, I say this. I played Warzone. I played Warzone some recently, and was watching It's Iron, who is the #1 in the world across the platforms for wins. And during a very heated gun battle, his PC system showed that he had a 40 millisecond latency, a round trip ping plus the overhead and stuff. 40 milliseconds. And in the gunfight, if there was any delay that you would really feel like would affect somebody, very few people would ever see anything. He was in a gunfight with someone. They must have been on a very good ping too, of 40 seconds or less. But the actual gunfight was, for all intents and purposes, spot on accurate. I don't know that, I don't see how it could feasibly be possible to do any better than the game did. I think that they must do something different in Warzone. But Warzone has also been just completely horrible many times. And I guess they must just have incredible... I think they say he's in like Detroit or something like that. I'm not sure. They must have really good internet, the overall network. There is so much to an internet network. It's unpredictable. As to how this game engine has worked out over the years, that I get much better, more normal feeling games to Canada, to Ontario, than I do to Florida or even possibly down the street is crazy. Um, so, whatever to all that without actually seeing the router hops and the delays and what's happening on the trunk lines and stuff, who knows? But, I mean, at the bottom line, you just have to accept the fact that from the moment you see something, you have a human reaction time, you have an input delay on your system, you have your system's overhead processing that. You have to head out of your house through the hops to a server to the other player, and then all of it get reversed back, including their reaction time and everything else. So, whatever to that. I've been in some matches where, for example, I knew somebody was on the other side of basically a crate. It was a different map, but it was barrels or a crate or something. I knew they were on the other side of it. They had seen me, and so I decided to come around and begin shooting. And the moment that I popped around it, they blasted my head off with a shotgun, and I was dead. Now, that shows me that under the right circumstances, the thing is very much spot on accurate. But at the exact same time, I have played these games so much that I cannot say, I mean, easily the vast majority of the time, it is not at all. You are either getting interpolated to death, where the people have been somewhere that was not on your screen, and when it in fact shows you getting killed, when you actually get killed, it is splicing it together so that it's like you're getting nanosecond killed. Or vice versa, you can be shooting at someone and nothing is hitting for some bizarre reason. So whatever, I guess everybody knows that at this point. But the point of this is that apparently Cold War, my first thing is if the lobbies are done the same way they are this year, they can just go to hell. I'm not putting a penny into it. The next thing is going to be how bad is the delay on it, because so far from the test server people, it was awful. And, these people like to cover for their games. The Gears development team had horrible shit servers, and everybody harassed them, and they came out with a video that said, well, we decided our slow 20-30 hertz servers were a better investment and that the money needed to be spent elsewhere. They're Microsoft. What kind of junk is that? The Overwatch people, who many people consider to be the best, most competitive thing, it's right on par with CSGO for servers, came out with a video years ago that I found that explains all this stuff. Basically, it's a very good video, but they have keyworded their sales pitch. I forget what they call it. It basically says, we guarantee shooter wins. It's not the exact words, that's what it meant. They have dressed up the fact that the lag compensation system always favors the shooter, so that what you see on your screen is what you get regardless of what the other person is actually doing. And if maybe I'll post the link down below that for anybody who cares to see that. But what they've done is, through a set of tricky wordplay, they're basically acting like it's this incredible thing that shooters are guaranteed hits. When in fact what that means is that the slowest person, the most delayed person, that they said in that they were changing their compensation cap, but it basically means that the better connections get compensated to death. So whatever. Traditionally speaking, if you have a better connection when you shoot, your bullets register killing them first, and they give you that. So a super low ping when you actually see someone is great. But the flip side of that is that for a better connection, the exact opposite is true when it comes to positional stuff. When it's the difference between gunfire and position. A super low ping, when you have a target in sight, favors, to my knowledge, in virtually every shooting game, the shooter. Your bullets will register with the server first and kill them. Even if two people were standing here pointing directly at each other, and one was on a lower ping, when they shoot, they will be given the gunfight, even if it was the exact same gun. So, repeat, if anybody's watching this, that's really important. Two people Exact same gun, exact same distance, pointing exactly at each other. To my knowledge, yeah, I have not definitively tested this, but from everything that everybody has ever tested, the lower ping will win the gunfight based on lower ping. Maybe they've worked something out to trade it, but traditionally speaking, that's been the case. Regardless, that has nothing to do with positional delay, which I know is true and has been tested repeatedly. That if you are standing, that when people are in motion, the person with the delayed view gets the kill. So you're running. Nobody is even standing here. I've said this a billion times, but nobody is even Okay, so I'm player 2, and I'm hiding behind this door, and I'm player 1, and I run past. Nobody is standing there. On their screen, they're already standing there. They're shooting. I basically get hammered from nowhere and killed. And when you see the kill cam, a lot of times the kill cam is off, and you have to like go back and see like the. And then people say, "Oh, well, the kill cam's not real." If the kill cam's off, the game's off. And you can see it in the tracers because the tracers are often off from either of them. Oh, the tracers aren't real. Yeah, the tracers are real. The tracers, the kill cam, and the actual games show you what's happening. You can you can triangulate those three things and see how far off the game is. So anyway, this the high ping lag compensation favors the laggy person on position. To some extent, if both people are going to be out of sync, but when one person actually targets the other person, the laggy person gets the kill. So that's a shooter's advantage to the laggy people. So whatever. The thing here is that if this, and this is actually too short. I know from doing it repeatedly before this should actually be closer out there, but I'm just not going to worry about it. So this is 500 milliseconds-ish. This is 250. This is right at 125. And no questions about it. This game was tested in 2 different states. The early release beta stuff, and then a couple months later under actual release. And the server cycles apparently did not change at all. The ping to those servers did not change. But something between their release builds of the game went from a baseline over 100 millisecond delay during the beta down to about 60. So same ping, same server cycles, whatever they did, whether it was the server overload, who knows? I don't think it was the server overload. It's like it's something actually behind the scenes with the game. Dropped it almost to half on the exact same network. So I just don't know. Maybe they were monitoring statistics or something and it was slowing it down. But regardless of that, when the game was tested after release with the improved rates, repeatedly, the core multiplayer and ground war had 2 different server cycles and 2 totally different delay rates. And what that seems to boil down to is that ground war has too many players for them to run the servers at the same high frequency as the lower player count multiplayer. And so on a super ideal ping, normally, now again, I get 14 milliseconds or less ping. I've had 10 millisecond pings to EA and Microsoft. But the Activision servers, a 30 millisecond ping is considered good. That's what I get on fiber internet. And we have good fiber internet. Like when I do uploads, I get 700 megabits per second. Like real 700 megabits. I can upload a video pretty much immediately. I get faster up than down because less people are uploading. So anyway, 30 millisecond ping is good. And this is the point. I'll say the worst one first. On ground war, on a 30 millisecond ping, the server was only sending out at 22 hertz. It's absolutely horrible. In the regular game, the server was sending out on 62 hertz, which is considered to be, at this point, good, and as good as any of these console games get. The difference in the delay between a 60, with everything else being equal, the difference in delay between the 62 hertz server coming, both of them sent, apparently both of them sent out updates from the players to the server at the same over 60 hertz. But when the server actually sends it back to get it to the other player to know what's happening, the same 60 plus hertz in multiplayer dropped down to 20 hertz in ground war. And what that turned into was, instead of a baseline 60 millisecond delay, 100 millisecond delay. Now, that may sound like, if anybody's listening to this, that may sound like gobbledygook or whatever. It's really important. What that means is that two players, me and another guy standing over there, both have an excellent 30 millisecond ping to the server. With a 62 hertz client server update cycle, both ways, there was next to no system overhead. My 30 seconds to the server, 30 seconds back, or not my 30, but my 15 to the server, that 15 to them was a 30-second trip that turned into 60 milliseconds. So when I would, again, here's the deal. 500, 250, 125. 125 split in half is about 62.5. 500, 250, 125, 62.5. Yeah, this is a little bit shorter than it should be, but 62.5 milliseconds of delay. So I'm standing here and shoot consistently, test after test, on an ideal ping with 60 hertz client and server updates. The bullet would land on their screen 60 milliseconds later. That basically means that the delay in motion would have been me standing here versus standing here before it actually hit them. So if I was running and shooting and went from here to here, that's the delay between my first shots hitting. Now, even though that may not seem like much, the problem with that is that it does that for position and gunfire. So that when I am running from what it basically means is that if I was invisible at this point, even on that connection, when I get to here, I'm going to show up at this spot when I'm actually here. But when they shoot me from their position over there, at this spot, now again, if I'm in motion, they're going to have to compensate for it some. The first bullets are not actually going to hit until I get here. Because it's a two-way directional, because it's two ways of positions and gunfire. One person may not, neither person may even be visible to each other. But even on the ideal connection, by the time the first bullets hit, with the person appearing from nowhere, you've gone this far. So taking that as the absolute minimum. Okay, so this is the 500, the 250, the 125. Ground war tested at a baseline 100 millisecond delay. So when you're even on the ideal connection, it's going to be twice. So you're standing here, your bullets are going to show up about when you start shooting. The delay is going to be to about here, and by the time they are anything comes back from them, you're going to be to about here. So this is decide if there's really anything else to say about this. 500, 250, 125. Ground war baseline delay right at 100. From my position updating to them firing on my original position doubles that to 200. Plus you have an arc that's over the reaction time. So an ideal fiber ping, which I have, at 30 milliseconds for both players on their stupid 20 hertz server cycle is this much discrepancy in position. I'm being killed. If you bump the servers up to 60, it goes to half that. The problem with over that is as soon as their server load goes up, and as soon as you're put into a lobby with people where it says 90 ping lobby, you may have potentially tripled the delay between certain members of the teams. If this is the round trip positional desync, what is it going to be on 60 ping? What's it going to be on 90 ping? If this is the round trip positional desync and ground war on 30 ping, how bad is it going to get when the people are up at 60 up to 90 ping? Why do the lobbies even say that they're at 90 ping? So whatever, what starts as seeming like it's trivial quickly becomes non-trivial when you're playing a competitive shooting game. Furthermore, the whole issue with all of this is that the time to kill on the guns for headshots is nearly always 100 milliseconds or less, and the full body is nearly always 250 or less. So in core multiplayer, 60 milliseconds of baseline delay is nearly the time to kill of the foul on a headshot. A 120 millisecond desync in position on an ideal connection is over a headshot time to kill. It is half of a body shot time to kill. In ground war, a baseline 120 second delay is nearly twice the time to kill of a foul on a headshot, and a bidirectional 200 millisecond positional desync is over the body TTK of a third of the guns at least. So while it may not seem like it's much when you actually see it, for on ground war, I was playing ground war earlier. It's just a miserable experience. This 200 millisecond window of baseline minimum bidirectional desync, which is what you see when somebody's shooting. When you go into the game and you see on the kill cam that they look like they were aiming over here and the bullets are still hitting, or when you're dying and you see tracers flying up in the air around you and you know that you were not standing there, that's what it's doing. And so this thing here, this window of 200 milliseconds, is nearly 3 times the headshot death time of a foul. If it was a sniper rifle, you were literally killed 3 feet behind where you were. And it's like nearly the time, or over the time to kill. It's definitely over the time of the Odin. A bunch of the guns have less than 200 millisecond body shot kill time. You're already dead. The person, you have not received a single bullet, and you are already dead. And what's going to happen is you're going to have the sensation of being snapped back. It's going to feel like you're stuck for a second while you're killed. So I have this happen so much. This is like such a routine, miserable occurrence where I'm there's nobody there, and I'm watching everything. I go around, there's nobody there, and boom, there they are, and I'm dead. And for some reason in Infinity Ward's games, it looks like the hit markers are actually showing it pretty much instantly killing you when it shouldn't. So whatever. They if it's awful this year, I'm not even playing it. I'm so tired of it. They've, for some reason, some of these other games are working much better. For some reason, Warzone under certain conditions is working great. I don't know, but there you go. 1 second, 500, 250, 125, 62.5. Ground War being potentially the worst of any of them. Baseline delay is 100. Bidirectional is 200. That means that they were firing on you at this position. The bullets are actually hitting across your arc of motion about here. Because your position did not act, this position did not get to them until you were here. When they began to fire, their bullets did not actually hit until you were here. And as soon as your ping goes up above 30, it's going to go out here. Potentially. So, whatever. You don't normally, for some reason, it doesn't normally seem to get that bad. Like out this far. But whatever. I think while I'm on here, I'm going to go ahead and freaking play a little bit, see how it goes.
strike inbound. Headquarters. Capture and defend each HQ. HQ active. Move to secure. Securing the HQ. Friendly VTOL on station for overhead. HQ secured. Hold out as long as you can. Friendly UAV overhead. Flash out! Okay, get ready to move. Friendly UAV overhead.
Enemy at the warehouse.
Friendly VTOL on station for Overwatch. Into the new HQ.
Bitches.
Target down. Disable the HQ. Reinforce. Friendly UAV overhead. Almost done here. Ready up.
Contact!
Flash out! Friendly UAV overhead. Get to the HQ. Get tapped.
Enemy at the shop.
Friendly UAV overhead. Friendly VTOL on station for Overwatch.
Enemy at the compound.
UAV on station.
UAV entering the AO.
Apparently these people are afraid of frickin' headquarters.
AO is too hot. Disabled the HQ. Reinforcements inbound. Almost done here. Ready up.
Enemy at the junkyard.
Control on station for... Get to the new HQ. Be advised. Friendly gunship in the AO. HQ is online. Secure. They're capturing the HQ. Go! HQ left. Less than a minute. Fine. Almost out of it. Run the HQ. Stand by. Allied cluster strike inbound. HQ contested. We're at the HQ. Stand by.
Avenue.
30 seconds. Time's up. Move your arms.
Crash out! Target down! Reloading!
Enemy at the compound. Enemy at the junkyard.
HQ disabled. Get ready to move out.
I'm looking for you.
Ready up. Get to the new HQ.
Trophy system deployed!
Put this on him. Come on here.
Enemy at the tower.
Oh shit!
HQ is online. Securing. Enemy on the HQ. Get over there.
Crash out!
Outstanding. I expect nothing less.
Okay. Let me play search district or shipment. You play shipment? Nope. Let's play that. I did so.
I have no idea what the fuck these fools were doing. I have no clue. If this guy with the gunship had any capacity to hit anybody, I don't know what the fuck they were doing. First off, at the moment I went to start streaking up, they freaking never would capture the freaking headquarters. So whatever. I mean, maybe they're trying to bait to extend the match. I don't think they were actually doing that. And honestly, I don't think they're smart enough to do that. Then they actually got a gunship in. Now that guy may have been. They get a gunship in. Where were the kills? The headquarters is right there, and there's like one guy running around with a shotgun in the headquarters.